But I didn't want to engage more.
But see, that's the dilemma, man. If you don't have, if you don't have a criterion of truth that you always use for your moral compass, you're subject to change all the time. You're going to be changing every 5 years, and
well, I think they do. I think they do have one. They have a criterion. They have moral foundation. I mean, they have their epistemology, would say, again, the source of their truth and their morality. But it just happens not to be Islam.
Yeah,
it's not Quranic. It's not prophetic. You understand? They would.
Yeah.
They think that they're doing it based upon a prophetic way of looking at things, but the very fact that they are antagonistic towards classical scholars, they're antagonistic towards the tradition. I mean, they actually are. Even if they may claim otherwise. And so what they do, they're left to embrace what? Feminism. And even if you don't call yourself a feminist, it's like that's fundamentally what you're doing. You're embracing feminist ideology or Marxist ideology, and that becomes a source of your morality. Their ideas about justice, their ideas about equality, their ideas about utopia. That is fundamentally what you're bought into. And we're just saying, listen, that we want to address these issues with you. I mean, if there are actual legitimate issues in the Muslim community, let's address those issues. But let us utilize Islam's morality, Islam's sort of way of viewing these issues. You see, make Allah the judge, make the Quran the judge in these issues first and foremost. But when you come out and you promote non-Islamic morality, right? And you based upon this idea of equality, right? And it's not an Islamic, idea of equality. Totally,
it's a leftist.
Right,
it's this leftist idea of trying to achieve this egalitarian society where there's no more power structures. Where we're going to have universal income, and some of these ideas might even be connected to Islam. I know during some of the Khulafa, I think the Islamic world had reached such a strong position that there was income that was distributed back to the poor, to the extent that there were very few people even to be found that were considered poor.
Right. During Umar ibn Abdul Aziz and Umar ibn Khattab had initiated some programs as well.
So these ideas aren't inherently liberal ideas. They're definitely ideas that were at least tried and tested out in the past and were achieved to a certain extent, but their reference point is not Islam. They're trying to achieve this leftist egalitarian society where, not only will there be universal basic income, but there will also be no more power structures where people, a CEO and a worker will make the same amount of money, these are all like actually grounded in Marxism, if you think about it.
Right, and people will get things for free. The people work hard and became rich, and they think that you just simply take your rich people's money and give it to the people who actually are not willing to work.
Right.
So there's a lot of those problems there. Now, I mean, definitely, I think we have to be very careful too, not to deal with this issue in the same binary terms that the non-Muslims in the political realm deal with them. So, for instance, and if you look at Republicans, Democrats, that it's either capitalism or socialism, right?
Right.
But for us as Muslims, it's like, no, it's not either or, because when we look at, like, for instance, someone like AOC, who they made fun of her because she said that people are too obsessed with being factually correct than being morally wrong, than being morally correct, right? And because they were checking her on some issues, and people laughed, and I understand why they laughed, but also I understand what she was implying as well, right? Now, I'm not, again, one of her fans, but I understand what she's trying to get at. And one of the fundamental issues is that if we are opposed to welfare, right, for the poor or for Main Street, then we should also be opposed to welfare for Wall Street, right? And our society is one where Wall Street has on welfare. They take taxpayers' dollars. The 2008 collapse, the money was taken from taxpayers' dollars and given to the rich, given to the banks. So that's welfare, fundamentally. That's socialism, right? And you can say, well, let's not call it socialism, but if you're going to give it to them, then what about everybody else? So you're not treating us equally. So I totally relate to that, but I just think that you can't just simply discard or dismiss the concern by saying, "Oh, she's trying to promote socialism," right? On the other hand, I think that this idea that something inherently evil about capitalism is like it's evil. I say no, I don't. Or I even saw a tweet earlier today where a Muslim was suggesting that that Islam was anti-capitalist, and I say, well, based upon what? I mean, what do you mean? In what way? What aspect of capitalism is Islam against? I say, yeah, maybe an aspect of capitalism, perhaps, but this idea as an entire theory that Islam is against it, even Marxism. I think that Muslims have to be careful that we completely reject Marxism because there's certain valid insights from Marxism and socialism.
100%. But